All right, lady, welcome back to another episode of Styled for Life, round two on the video podcasting. So, thank you so much for being here. It's your girl, Katie. Thanks for checking in through podcast on Apple, or maybe you're checking me out on YouTube because you want to see the hand gestures behind this podcast and all the amazingness. So, however you're tuning in, thanks for being here. I'm pumped to be here. You guys know I love podcasting. And if you don't know that, because you're new to the show, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm super grateful for all my OGs who've been on this podcast journey with me for almost 4 years. In November, it will be 4 years podcasting, and it's time to take this thing to the next level. So if you're new, it's an exciting time to be part of the Style Nation community. Welcome so much. My intention with this podcast is to show up every single week with myself or with a guest to rain fucking gems and inspiration, and most of all, have a good time. I want you to walk away with style, solutions, and strategies that make getting dressed every single morning fun and easy so that you can boost your mindset and amplify your brand. Never be afraid to send me a DM wherever we connect, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm a real person and I want to hear from you. So send me a message. Let me know what you want on the podcast. My OGs or my newbies, let me know. I'm here for you. This is about you. So today's episode is going to be really fun because we are going to flush the format. Back in the day when I was commuting, and it might even have been before that, I used to listen to the Elvis Duran show on repeat, right? So I'm sure some of you guys know that show. Super popular radio show based out of New York, and you could get it all across the country, et cetera, et cetera. And it was just a really great show. I love Elvis. Love so many of the people on the show. It's been years, so I can't even remember everybody's name, but they used to always do this whole like flush the fucking format. We're just gonna go do what we want. And I think that's so funny and so amazing and such a great analogy for like how business feels sometimes. So in a past life, I was a marketing director and a certified PMP. So if you don't know what a PMP is, that's a project management professional. That means we got our shit together. We know how to plan, we know how to allocate time, we know how to allocate resources, we know how to keep people motivated, on task and on schedule. And your goal always as a PMP is, to take the strategy and execute it on time and under budget, right? Always. So it's funny to me how those things have showed up for me in business. And I always say, like, it's great to have a plan because having a plan is fun when you need to pivot the fucking plan, right? It's hard to pivot when you're pivoting out of survival mode. And I was laughing at myself this morning when I was thinking about this episode because I had a totally different episode planned. I mean, we'll kind of get into it. And I was listening to another one of my favorite podcasters, Holly Haynes. This is totally inspired by her. We're doing some joint podcasting coming up next month. And I was like, not feeling it this morning. I've really been struggling with feeling overscheduled, feeling like, yes, I feel like I think it's just new level, new devil, right? Like always growing, always evolving. And like, what does that look like for you? And just, I'm getting more clarity around so many things. And then at the same time, I'm still feeling stuck in so many areas and I don't like it. I don't know about you, but I do not like it. So I was like, I really like Holly's podcast. I really like Holly in general because she makes everything seem so easy, right? And just the way she says things and breaks it down for me, it's super easy to digest. And her podcast episodes are fairly short. Don't know how we're gonna be tracking on this one today. And I was like, okay, I bet she's talked about something reasonably vulnerable. I'm gonna listen to it, put my AirPods in, I'm gonna fucking run on this treadmill. And here we are a couple hours later, and I was like, all right, I'm flushing my podcast format for the day. Not always, I've been recording on Tuesdays if you want a little bit behind the scenes action on that. And I was like, we're going to do this. So I was feeling really inspired. She had a vulnerable episode, and I was like, I don't know if I've done one of those in a while, but this podcast originated out of just me showing up each week, being super vulnerable and saying, this is what I'm struggling with. This is how I'm managing it. And I want to share with you guys. This podcast is almost 4 years old. 4 years ago, it was called Just Realized. And it was me just sharing things I had just realized every week along the journey, right? And then I got a ton of clarity after just realizing and sharing every single week. And I remembered how important style and fashion is to me and how I use it in a different way. And I use it to boost my mindset and on the journey. So, long story short, today I was going to tell you all the amazing reasons on why nailing your work from home outfit is going to be important and kind of tease out why you should join me this week at my work from home dump the frump master your style workshop, and just kind of give you guys like some prep homework and like how to get ready for that and like all the reasons why you should do it. And it just doesn't feel like what I want to talk about today. Because as I was doing this and getting ready for this workshop, I've really begun to enjoy workshops, which is funny. Today's podcast episode is really all about evolution. Rewind a couple years ago, and I was like, I'm scared shitless to do workshops. And I'm sure it came through the 2 times I ever did one. But I really enjoy them because I love connecting and I feel a deep call to connect. And like, yes, I'm connecting more in person, but I still want to connect with my online peeps. So workshopping is a great way to do that. So I had this whole plan down. I'm going to talk about this today. I found this amazing stat that I'll be sharing with you guys in social media and things like that, that you can get a 23% productivity boost in your day when you work remotely, when you actually get dressed up to work remotely, right? And I was like, ding, 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 light bulb moment. Because when the pandemic hit and I wasn't getting dressed anymore, and I was really going through this big metamorphosis of a person and losing my job and starting a business without even knowing what the business was, right? Like I was in a business mastermind with no business and had no business being there. It's a big joke, right? Getting dressed every single day and just channeling that productivity when the world was fucking on fire and everyone was just like wearing the pajamas and just surviving and homeschooling and not showering. The one commitment I made to myself and I stayed true to was like, no matter what, no matter how much fucking first and second grade homeschool teaching I had to do and who I was rebuilding my identity on who I am without my corporate job and what business I wanted to build, I promised myself that no matter what, I would get dressed, take a shower every day, and put on lipstick and accessories. And when I say get dressed, yes, sometimes that was a cute sweatsuit or something else that made me feel amazing. And sometimes it was jeans and a t-shirt or jeans and a sweater like I have on today. But every single day I put on lipstick and it was just this little micro commitment to myself. And it really fucking transcended everything. Hence, it led me to the business and the thing that I wanted to help women do. So I found the stat and I was like, this is amazing. And me being the action taker that I am, which is exactly what I'm talking about today, I was like 23 more percent, right? 23% more productivity in my day. And my old project manager hat was like, fuck, yes. Do you know what I can get done with that extra 23%? And then the higher self version of me was like, okay, so let's pump the brakes. You've been having headaches every day. Maybe you're pushing a little too hard. And it's time to slow the fuck down so that you can speed up and so that you can create the life that you really dream of and you can create the impact that you truly, truly desire in your heart, not just the thing that you say that you think people want to hear. And even if what you want to create is the thing you really want to create, sometimes we say those things, at least in my experience, like we say these things out loud because we're supposed to say these things out loud. And then we don't really believe it inside of like, can I really help that many people? Can I really do this? Right? And people talk about this all the time. And they talk about like fake it till you make it and do it till you believe it and like whatever that thing is. So getting dressed with intention, this 23% productivity boost. Yes, I still want you to join me at the workshop this week. But instead of telling you why you should join me and talking more about those stats, I just wanted to keep it real with you on today's episode. But come hang out with me on Wednesday because it is going to be dope. And I am going to tell you how you can get that 23% boost of productivity in your day by, really getting into the nuances between getting dressed and being styled, how to do it with intention, how to use color, how to use the clothes you already have in your wardrobe, and how to just make this light, easy, and fun. Because at the end of the day, if it's not fun and it ain't easy, I'm not going to be there. And who wants to do it? Right? So if that is something that you do feel like you're struggling with a little bit, especially as we head into winter months, and then the frump really comes out, join me this Wednesday, October 25th, noon Eastern Standard Time. The link will be in the show notes, so go sign up. That's all you got to do. Go in your Apple app, open it, click through the link, sign up, let's hang out. So time to get real now that we've talked about that. So I've really been struggling because I've been taking a ton of action and I've had lots of success around the things I was taking action on. And then I got a ton of clarity. And what happens for me sometimes when I get a ton of clarity is I want to change my mind because I've learned a lot about myself and I've faced down a lot of demons on what I could and couldn't do. I've learned about myself, I've evolved, and I felt myself getting stuck, right? Because I'm not the same person I was 3 months ago when I started this journey, or 4 months ago, back in July. I set out this strategy, I executed on the strategy, I learned a fuck ton about myself, good things and bad things, gained some confidence, but then the confidence that I gained also, because it's like two sides of the same coin, also started to shine light on the things that I was not doing good. And it sucks. And it feels really, really hard. And one of the things that came up is I wanted to change my mind. I had really been focusing on growing and pouring into the Style Squad. I love the Style Squad. Love it. It's a brainchild. It's a big expansion for me. It's how I want to impact more people on this planet, make it accessible, and introduce people to the power of fashion and style at an easy price point with community and all the things. And by pouring into that, I started to back pull away on really going after one-on-one clients, right? And that had kind of been my, not kind of, has been my bread and butter for the last 3 years. And I was like, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. I have some amazing clients that I'm continuing to work with. Don't get me wrong. I just wasn't pursuing and like looking for like what's next. And then I poured a ton of energy into Style Squad. It's going amazing. It's like a well-oiled machine. I fucking love it. I couldn't love it more. But it's kind of in like it's starting to walk and it's toddling around. It's not a newborn baby anymore. It's like I newborn babied it. I got it to where I wanted it to get. It's not a full-grown adult by any means necessary, but it's toddling around, it's starting to eat food by itself. And now mama's like, oh, now I can go like, go see what your sister's doing over here and get back to that. And I was really starting to feel these pulls inside of like, oh, but I told myself I was just going to focus on my current clients that I have. And I really just want to funnel into growing the Style Squad. And I don't have time and capacity to do both. Like, how could I take on more one-on-one clients if I feel like I'm already pretty busy and I don't want to do that and then not give people this amazing transformational experience? How can I do both? And I was really just like thinking like my old self. I was really thinking like an employee and just like not thinking like a CEO, right? And that's been a really, really fucking hard shift for me. I never pegged myself as an entrepreneur. I didn't even know I had it in me. True funny story behind the scenes. My husband has been telling me this since we started dating when we were 19. Probably when we first got married around 25, he was like, I just don't know why you don't want to be an entrepreneur. It's like, because that's not who I am, right? It just took me a little bit longer to get there. And I wanted to change my mind. So why does this suck? I can always change my mind. We can all change our minds, right? A couple reasons is, well, through this transition, I've brought people on my team. I've explicitly told them what my goals are, what our vision is, where we're going. Everything we're doing is funneling towards this one thing. And I don't feel like I have capacity to like do something else, right? So I'm really struggling internally. I'm like, fuck. But you know what? I'm allowed to do whatever the fuck I want. Isn't that the point of running the business? And I had to get really, really honest with myself. And I had to dig in and be like, thinking too small. And I am allowed to do this. And changing your mind is okay. And I think that's a thing that I really wanted to hone in here. I could talk a little bit about what I did and how I moved through it. And I fully intend to do that. But I wanted to share this story with you because when we hire people into our teams and when we make strategies and we set out plans, and then we fucking change our minds because we've evolved over 3 months. We evolve, our client evolves, the people evolve, the world evolves. Things happen in the world that make you change your perspective on what you want to do and how you can serve and how you can help. It's really hard to go back because people depend on you and people count on you to say like, hey, I kind of changed my mind. And we don't value it or we don't hold space for it. And I think it's really hard for women, especially because we haven't been given a lot of power and we haven't been in a lot of powerful situations, and it becomes part of that feminine energy of chaos of she doesn't know what she wants and she's all over the place and she's constantly changing her mind and she's emotional and she's doing this and she's flip-flopping back and forth all these things. And it's just not something as a society that we like to put things in boxes and we like to have checklists and we like to do this and we like to, it's not about not being reliable, because I think you can change your mind and still be reliable. It just really depends on how you handle it. Right. And I was really struggling with this because I'm a super dependable, reliable person. I'm really consistent. I'm a fucking action taker. And what I've learned through this process is sometimes being dependable, consistent, and always taking action, things I've prided myself on, is that one, I don't leave myself time and space to be myself and to know what I want. And I might take action to a fault. Stay with me here. A lot of people live in inaction and they don't take action, and people are like, take messy action, take messy action. I'm the queen of taking messy action. I'm the queen of like just getting in and getting shit done and it being messy. But what I'm not the queen of is in turning back around and saying, this is what I learned from this. This is what I'm going to shift because of this. This is how I'm going to grow and how I'm going to evolve, because I'm scared to give myself the time and space to, one, get honest with myself, two, to pivot and make changes if I've already told someone that this is what we're doing. And three, like, not until recently, I just wasn't someone that was good at strategizing. Like, just keep it fucking real. Around some things, absolutely, things that came easy to me. But when it came to my business and felt like I was strategizing myself and my emotions, and it was very emotional. And I was putting a lot of value on myself and my worth, which is an old core wound from being in corporate, is feeling like your value is tied to your productivity and always making sure you're producing so that you're valuable to the business, so that your head stays off the chopping block. And I carried a lot of that into running my business. And like I said, this is super vulnerable, getting a little uncomfortable here, people. So hopefully you're appreciating this, but I just want to keep it real because that's how this journey started. That's how this journey is going to end. Not that it's ending anytime soon. But I wanted to share because I know I'm not the only person feeling this. And it's really uncomfortable. And I was really uncomfortable when I went back to my business strategist. I was like, so I know every day for 2 weeks, I've been telling you that this is the only thing I want to do. But I've started to change my mind. And I feel a little bit more clear where I want to go. And she said something to me that is so true. And it's something that I know. I don't know if I practice it very well. And I don't think any of us really practice it really well. She's like, Katie, running a business is a series of experiments, is a series of tests, and you're just staying curious. She said, if you didn't come back to me and change your mind, I wouldn't think that you were growing and that you were doing your job as a CEO, as a visionary of this business. And it made me feel really seen and really validated. And I was like, if somebody's out there and they're struggling with this, I want them to know that they're allowed to change their mind. So flush the format. Forget about your work from home productivity tips, because these are the tips, right? This is life. This is how we create more productivity in our life, is getting real and honest with ourselves and doing the things that feel good with us and doing everything with intention. And the same way that I put intention into my outfits every day and put intention helping my clients build those style solutions and strategies. What are we building those solutions and strategies for, of expressing ourselves in our clothes, if we're not going to take what we learn about that and funnel it into our business and funnel it into our relationships and funnel it into our lives, right? So you can't separate the two. So I wanted to share this with you because be really vulnerable around giving you permission to change your mind. Not that you need permission from me, but letting you know that you can do that. So real quick, to give you the tips on how I did it, because I hate nothing more than people saying, I did this and it's amazing. And I'm just going to come after the fact of feeling really good and tell you that things are good and hello from the other side. But it's like, okay, how the fuck did you get there? Like, tell me how you got there. I need specifics. So my favorite podcasters give specifics. So I want to give specifics. I'm going to tell you quickly what I did and a couple of the bigger things, like how I did them. So number one is I talked to my friends. I'm a verbal processor. Shocker. Are you listening to the podcast? Have you been listening to the podcast? I'm a verbal processor. I need to talk it out loud. I need to hear myself say it. People say that Aquarius is an air sign and air signs like to talk a lot. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's not. I'm trusting that when I talk a lot or when I express like this, that someone really needs to hear this message, not just me. So that was the first thing I did. Now I've got some really good, and then not just any friends. Okay, not just the friends that are going to tell you that you're amazing and that you're doing the right things. The friends that, like my friend likes to say to herself, I don't mean to be a dick, but those friends, the friends that are going to call you out on your shit and say, okay, but this or that. And so when they tell me, yes, this makes sense and you're making a really good decision, then I know that they're not just blowing smoke on my ass to be my friend. They're like legit in my corner. Then I got real fucking honest with myself. I saw this one. I've been following Justin Welsh on LinkedIn. I don't know if you follow him. He's a big LinkedIn creator, influencer, and I've been dabbling with getting back on LinkedIn, and I think it was him. Shit, I follow so many big people over there, or new people over there. Anyways, said one of the things you need to do is to get honest with yourself. And I was like, ugh, I have to be honest with myself. And I hate when people give advice like that, because what the fuck does that mean? It can mean so many different things. So how did I get honest with myself? I talked to my friends, the ones that weren't gonna blow smoke on my ass. I journaled, which I kind of have a love-hate fucking relationship with journaling. I listened to podcasts. I listened to spiritual podcasts and things that like really helped me like dig in, not business. The last thing I needed was another business strategy or another thing I should be doing in my business, because I needed to get in tune with me, myself, and I, and what did I want? And was this decision coming from lack? Was it coming from someone else? Who was it coming from? So those were the kind of podcasts I dived into. Sahara Rose is one that I really enjoy. I think hers was the one I've been listening to. I sat outside in my neighborhood, so shout out to all my neighbors who saw me sitting out by the pond looking like an asshole. I was processing some feelings and I had to just sit still, and I had to be uncomfortable, with my feelings. I had to be uncomfortable with my neighbors walking by and seeing me on this beautiful sunny afternoon. And I had to just be honest with myself. And that's what I needed in the moment, was some space that was quiet, public, and away from my house, because I work in my house. I live in my house. A lot of energy is happening in my house. And then of course, as always, like my clothes. It always comes back to how I'm dressing, what I'm doing intentionally, and using my clothes as a mirror. How am I letting myself evolve? Look at this fucking super feminine, like intricate detail sweater that I have on. This is part of an evolution for me. It's a really neutral color. I told my husband before I started recording this video, I feel like I'm just blending in. And this detailing is not really me, but for something to me that was being called to it. It was like a permission slip of like, hey, this feels really good. Let's give this a shot. And I talk to my clients about this all the time. We can define your style. We can create style strategies. And as you grow your taste, your style, all of that will start to shift with you too. And use those cues to see where else am I shifting in my life. That's really my key to the game. And then, of course, I made the big conversation, going back to my strategist, going back to the couple of people that helped me and my team, and saying, so change of plans. This is what I really want to do. I know this is frustrating and irritating. I would love to hear your feelings on this. Like, how does this change things? Thanks for creating an open space. I was just really open and honest with like how I was feeling, what I knew that it was going to mean to them. And like, let's have an open conversation. I really think that's the key to everything. Well, if you ask me, hydrate, eat your food, whatever, your healthy food. That's not what I'm an expert in. Wear the thing that's going to make you feel good. Use it as a mirror to understand yourself and what you're manifesting, where you're at in your life, and then open, honest conversation.